Welcome again to another episode of Sneaks Friends in Life. I am your host, Lionel McDonald. So once again, we have a special guest, a returning guest. And we do love when guests decide to come back and we are able to work it out. And we all have busy schedules, and sometimes things just don't align, and sometimes things take time. But Romessa, welcome back to the show. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am fantastic. Good to chat with you. Good to have you back on the pod. So,
Thank
it's,
you.
I think we were talking right before it's been over a year since you were first, we kind of
Yeah.
connected on Instagram, and then you were on the pod and we had a great episode. So what have you been up to? How is the collection? How is life? Let's start there.
Life is good. Life is busy. We're back as in education. We were half online, half in person. Now we're fully in person. I went from teaching grade 2 to 5 with my STEAM program, and now I'm doing K to 5. So it's over 750 kids that I see. So it's busy, but it's good. It's nice to like be able to be back in some sort of normalcy after everything we've been through.
Yeah,
So yeah,
it's been
good.
quite the ordeal. So I think as we talked the last time, and obviously, Romessa, if you guys follow her on Instagram, and we'll tag it again at the bottom
Yeah.
there at the end of the episode. But 5'6" sneaker chick, and her students definitely take note of the sneakers
Yeah.
she's wearing. So tell us what maybe you've worn in the last maybe week or so, and then since we've just come off March break, and then what
Yeah.
are the students saying about the heat that you're wearing?
Yeah, so like I was just saying earlier, I've been wearing a lot more Jordans than I usually have been wearing, and I've collected a lot more Jordans over the past since last we spoke in that, and a lot of New Balances as well. But since it was Air Max month, I tried pulling out a lot of my Air Maxes as well. They loved the lasers. I wore those last week. Um,
Nice.
yep, those 90s I had. A lot of Air Max ones I was wearing. I've got the all women's, the gray suede pair. Had that I put into rotation. I had to bring in my Volt, my violet ones. I love those.
Those are
With
special.
those are so nice. Like they're honestly my favorite pair, and I feel like I overwear them, but they're so beautiful. Like just all the different textures on them. So I did that. Bacons. You can never go wrong with your
No, you
bacons.
can't go wrong with that one.
And I have a few Nike IDs that I also pulled out, and the kids were like, "What's that?" I'm like, "I made it." They're like, "What do you mean you made it?" So I actually kids and children logged into my account how you can make sneakers and on Nike ID. So now if we're in STEAM class and they're done early, and they'll be like, "Can we just go and create?" I'm like, "It's still creating. Go for it." So they're like designing shoes now in
Oh
class, which is
boy,
really fun.
wow, look at that. You're passing it on to the next generation. You were talking earlier about
Gotta
your
spread the
son,
goodness and
your son wanting to be on the podcast, but you got
he
your
did.
students making shoes now.
Yeah.
You're creating, you're helping to create the cultural message. So thank you so much. Um, so of all the shoes that you've worn, which is the shoe that gets your students the most excited?
I think because I'm in an elementary school, my grade 4s and 5s, anytime there's a Jordan. Anytime
Mm,
I'm wearing a Jordan 1, it's like, "Oh my god, you got that Jordan," and there's always a conversation when there's a Jordan. And then I've noticed now when they don't recognize a shoe, they're like, "What is that? Can you tell me about it?" So it's really interesting. And then I told a lot of them because they noticed I was wearing some Air Maxes. They hadn't seen it in a while because of hence I was on the Jordan train for a while.
yeah.
And I was like, Air Max month and started talking to him about that. Like we're like about Nike. And so like, you know, a lot of the time right now they're into the Jordans because every day there was something different, but trying to show them some other shoes now as well.
Yeah. So yeah, you mentioned a couple times now that it's Air Max month, and you mentioned some 90s, and obviously you mentioned Air Max One, and that's kind of
Yeah.
the flavor of the last couple of days in particular, as we're recording this, a day after Air Max Day, and the big release was the OG Big Bubble.
Yes.
So were you able to get your hands on that one?
Yes, I was.
Oh, you're so lucky. It was for
Yeah.
people were DMing me and saying, Lionel, can you believe like I signed up like 10 different places and I was online and I had it in the cart and I got kicked out and they were asking questions. But
Oh
anyways,
my
like
God.
some
It
had
was stressful.
struggles getting that shoe, but good on you
The
to
one
get it. What was your experience? How did you get it?
So I was gonna say, I'm like the one thing that I actually really liked. So I ended up getting it from Livestock. So when they did their drop, and I'm not sure if they did other, like they had the two separate releases. So it was the women's and the men's. They had separated it like that. But
Mhm.
when it went live, only the men's link was available on the main page, and you actually had to manually search for the women's. And so
Okay.
that took a hot minute. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not gonna be able to get my size. Then the CAPTCHA, draw the box around the fattest cat. You know how many times I drew that box around that cat? Could not get through. But finally, like after about a good couple of minutes, I was able to then check out with them.
It's
So it was good. I
trying
was
to fight the
nervous.
bots.
I know. And it was like, oh my God, how else can I draw this box and tell you I'm human? I'm here.
Yeah.
And then later, I ended up going to Livestock because I was in Toronto yesterday, went into the store, and they still had like a 4 or 5 pairs right behind the cash
Hmm. Go figure.
available. Not in my size because I asked them, like, do you have another 8.5? They're like, no. They had
No,
an
no,
8.
no. Yeah.
So, and if
Okay.
any girls
Okay.
listening need an 8, as far as I know, they had some one yesterday.
Yeah, I'm sure those are all gobbled up by now because people were fiending for this shoe. And I mean, hey, we had this back in 2017, small bubble. It was the
Yeah.
anniversary one, and it's the one that 360. And there's a lot of people that love that one and were able to that still wear it to this day. And then they've redropped some of the OG colorways, and there's the red with the gray and the white. But
Yeah.
honestly, I like the blue one better. The blue one is far more limited. The blue just pops. So I'm a blue over. I like red over blue, but in on that shoe, it's blue over red. So what are your
Yeah.
thoughts?
I'm not a red person at all.
Okay.
I'm really not. But I do like the red in this and the blue also. Like I feel like they're about the same for me at this point.
Okay.
Like my heart always goes to like a neutral, a purple, and a pink. Like that's
Yeah.
where I'm at. But both red and blue, and I like the shade of blue and the tone that they have in it. So I'm excited and hopefully I can add that as well to the collection. But I
All
need to slow
right.
down. I'll add
So
that.
we're gonna have to, again, shout out that this podcast, Sneaks Rhymes in Life, is available on all streaming platforms. So whether you're on Google, whether you're on Apple, whether you're on Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you do your podcasts, you can definitely get it there. But we've also, the last year or so, we've added YouTube. So for those that are watching on YouTube, you will peek over Romessa's left shoulder and we see some incredible heat. There is two boxes that are stacked over her shoulder. You cannot ignore them. So how did you get the Ama Manier? And I'm assuming you don't have two of one color, you have one of each. So talk to us
Yeah.
about that.
So again, just through raffle, I'm on Manera. They had the raffle for the women's to go and apply. I did that. So one of them I won through there, and the other one actually, I had a friend that was couldn't get their size, and then they're like, you know what? I was able to get you your size instead because I was
Wow.
working and I
You
wasn't
got
able
good
to get
peoples.
online. I got some peeps. I got good people in my corner, always watching my back for me. Especially
Amazing.
it's hard because now that we're back in person, I'm
Yeah.
not online. I can't do like, oh, let me hop over for a minute here and just try to see if
Yeah.
I can um, grab at the time that it drops. So when I'm teaching, I'll let somebody, I'm like, oh, can you try to get this for me? I'm like, this is the time, this is the size. Here, I'll email transfer you later.
All right. So of the two, and obviously they're unique in their own ways. Which one do you like better?
So my black one, I'm not sure if it's a defect or something, but the elastic on the tongue is way too tight. So I feel like I have
Hmm.
to cut the elastic on that just to open it up, but the white fits beautifully.
Okay.
The white does fit beautifully. Yeah.
Yeah, the white one to me, like I think the black one is like incredibly clean, but like the white one just pops because it's
It does.
like 12 white is like a whole different white on any other Jordan. So, and it's because
Yeah.
it's like bumpy or wavy the way that they have made the
Yeah.
material. So yeah, I think I personally I like the white, but I think you can't go wrong with either
Yeah.
one.
No, and especially, like, that pop of that burgundy and purple in it, it's,
Yeah,
like,
the
so
burgundy makes it
beautiful, like,
real
the gold,
special.
and, like, and that gold just gives it that little, like, regal touch to it, it's really
Yeah.
nice, it's nice
Oh,
to
I
know.
remember from the last episode, you do like gold. So
I
that
do,
I have not forgotten.
oh,
So
there's something not in frame that you can't see that has gold in it, and I have a story for this one to share with
okay,
you.
please share. We love a good story.
This one here,
Oh boy. For
I
those
have to
that can see. So break it down for us, please.
Okay. So, it was actually SneakerCon weekend. The day before I had gone to Buffalo for the day and, just hanging out, doing some shopping. And there's a sneaker store called The Cellar, I believe it's called. One's my cousin's closet, the other one's called The Cellar. So walked in, whatever, and it's sitting there. I kid you not, it's cheaper than what it was retail here. I paid
Oh
under
my
200
gosh.
Canadian for the undefeated Kobe 5, like the collab.
Those are beautiful.
And they've only been on foot once, and I took them to SneakerCon, and everyone was
You
just like,
broke a
"Oh,
you broke a few necks when you wore it. So
yeah." I had somebody offer me 1,200 to take them off my feet. And I was like, "No." I'm like, "I take the cash." I'm like, "But
yeah,
I like them." Yeah.
yeah, they're special.
Yeah. So this one was a really big, rare find, and like this is
Hmm.
like a special pickup from this past year.
Okay. So
Definitely.
we love the story and the journey and the rare find. And you mentioned earlier that you got that one. That one's below retail.
Right.
You didn't have to go the resale route for the Yama Mirror times two. So how are you
No.
scoring retail? Because that is the
Right.
new flex of 23, if you didn't know. Scoring
Yeah.
shoes at retail versus paying resale.
Now, mind you, there have been a few that I've had to pay here and there for resale, but for a lot of the ones that I've really wanted to go for, I don't know, I've just been really lucky the past little while. And then like even like winning contests here and there and able to then just put a little bit of my funds in to kind of like balance stuff out.
Hmm.
Like that's what it's been. Um and also a lot of like in-store shock drops, or if like something's been like they find some extra stock or someone hasn't picked something
Yeah.
up from a raffle and they just happen to be
That
there.
happens way too often. It's like all of a
Yeah.
sudden, like Nike loses like 1,200 shoes somewhere in their gigantic football field of a warehouse,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh yeah, we'll put these out again on sneakers, or we'll send them to a retailer, and they have them
Yeah.
again. So
Yeah. Or you're just randomly checking and then like one randomly pops up that's in your size. So when I had Soul Savvy, like that's another place where I got a little bit of damage. I had Soul Savvy for a little bit, and every time the direct link and I'm like, oh, check out.
yeah,
And I'm like, oh man, what did I just do?
it is so good for information. It's like the
It is.
best thing that they've ever created in recent
Yeah.
times for sneakers. Like you just know everything that's happened. Like
Yeah.
I give them a lot of credit, like for them to showcase exactly how to the steps, like the details that they go through in terms of how you can help secure a pair. And again, it's all about getting it at retail. It's not about getting it on
No.
as paying a resale value. So hats off to them because they're doing an amazing job of teaching and telling people to go down that path. So
Yeah.
you got us going on sneaker stories, so we need another one. I know you mentioned earlier, I don't want to spoil it, but you came across a very special pair of sneakers as of late. So could you share that one with us?
Oh, this one up here?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
give us that one
So
because we were talking about your son. Tell us that one.
yeah, so, was at actually a thrift store. I
Yeah.
I believe it was Lee's. I was into Lee's and ended up finding the Stussy Hirachi, collab that they did. So they had it in his size, didn't have any lace,
Unbelievable.
and it was 14.99. So I get up to the cash and I'm like, "Doesn't have any laces, like, is there anything you can do?" It was already really cheap, and I'm just being extra cheap at this point, seeing, like, what can happen, and the lady was like, "Yeah, sure, take him for 10 bucks." I'm like, "Ugh, done and done." So
Yeah.
for $10, he now has the Stussy Huaraches, and which I won't be able to get one in my size, but I'll leave
Yeah.
my kids
Sometimes
to
you got to
do.
live through your kids.
And then I just took his Amamanier laces because they matched really well with them, and I just laced them up
Yeah.
with that. With
I
the
was that was my next question is what lace did you decide to put that together with? Because that matches perfectly.
yeah, and then just cleaned them up with a little, plug for Crep Protect, so
No, there you go.
cleaned them up
Prep
with
Protect
that and
is the one that's been saving shoes for years on years now.
yeah,
So obviously, we're first quarter of 23, and the drops have been up and down, and we've had some really good ones, and we've had very busy months, and even like the
yeah,
beginning of the year, it was so quiet, and people were even just stressed about buying just
yeah,
just for the sake of I need to see the got them. I need to see that I got a pair. even though they really didn't like the shoe or they didn't need it. So what is sneaker being buying been like for you in 23? You got some good ones, but maybe you could give us your overall perspective.
So far, we're in March now. So far, like, January, February was pretty slow for me because there's nothing really that just because there's a release, I'm not gonna always go for it, right? So like for me personally, I only really go for something that I'm in love with and what I really want to add to my collection. So it's a little slow for me. But end of February hitting up until now, March, and I think I splurged a little as well because I'm like, oh, my birthday month, and I was like, you are a little bit more free-handed. I'm like, oh, I'll get this, and so I was able to get a lot more end of February going into March. So quite a few more of my pickups happened at that point.
Yeah, March, I would say February really kind of got going, and then March has been for some out of
Yeah,
control. So
yeah,
because we have Air Max month, there's been some great Jordans that obviously that have come out
yeah,
as well. And then I think a pretty little bow that they put on the month that is really impactful to yourself along with other people is Women's History Month. So,
yeah,
for yourself and obviously you've now really become ingrained in the women's sneaker. So you were kind of just, I wouldn't say starting off, but you've exploded, let's say that in
well,
the last year and a half. No,
yeah,
between, and I want to say this in a positive way, the shoes that you've taken pictures of, but I think even the quality of your pictures
oh, thank you.
have really upgraded. I don't know if you've changed your phone or you've just thought about your angles a little bit differently,
I
but
have. I thought of my
so
angles and I actually got an Apple Watch, which now helps that I can see what I'm shooting.
see,
Whereas
there you
before I
go.
was
I
like,
knew there was a technology trick
there
to
it
this.
is.
So
Yeah, and I got schooled by friends like, "You're not editing your pictures properly. This is what you need to do." So now I
gotcha.
feel like I have to always get my photo vetted before I'm able to post it to make sure
Got it.
that the
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
But it's paying off. It's paying off. And I don't know what
Thank you.
your Instagram followership is like, but I definitely think you're making an impact. So what has Women's History Month been for you? How has it been? Think about the education system and then,
Yeah.
as a woman that's a fan of sneakers.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take the stance from the education part of it, and especially because like the program I teach in is the STEM program, so it's science-based, math-based, engineering-based, and a lot of the time, more men are showcased in those fields. And so for
Hmm.
this one, I've really just focused on highlighting the women that were behind so many creations and bringing light to that. So I had a couple of kids come down and we did research, and I gave them each a different like historian to work on, and then they did their research on it. We put a bulletin board together and just talking about the impact that women have really had on society and just encouraging them that you can still go ahead and do whatever it is that you want to do and have that confidence, and that there's space for everyone. It doesn't have to be male or female or however you identify yourself. Is like there's space for everyone. And then tying that into like with sneakers as well, last week in March actually I tried to wear more of my women releases whenever I was able to, and then the kids are like, oh, that's really cool, and then I'm like, well, this is a women's only collab, or like this was a women's drop that happened. So showing them that sneakers are just not for boys. Anyone who has
Yeah.
feet can wear your sneakers here.
Totally. Totally. That's awesome. That's awesome. So, hey, if we think about the women's sneaker community, and I think it's amazing how it's really flourishing now and starting to grow. I think there's still a lot of room that it needs to go. And we have, a cool store in the city in Toronto where we both live. We have Makeway, and hopefully
Mhm.
that leads to more stores or more
Yeah.
avenues that, there's places for women to buy shoes. But what would you say is kind of the state of the women's sneaker community, and what do you think where do you think it's headed?
So I think that there is a lot of women right now feeling confident and getting into the sneaker community. And I think really we're showing our take on how we would go and style certain shoes. I think we're taking it in a little bit more of the whole outfit fashion wise, and like showing our different styles and how you can like dress it up, dress it down, like you make it casual. There's so many different ways that you can take a shoe and elevate it depending on how you accessorize everything else around
Hmm.
with the outfit. And through that, like just going on my explore page, there's so many women that I've found that I've been able to connect with throughout the world. And it's amazing just to see their style. And then they then give me inspiration of like, oh, I didn't think about that shoe or how to pair it with that outfit. So I I most likely I really enjoy actually looking and connecting with those women to see how it's going to now influence or like how I can take bits and pieces of it to make it into my own style.
Yeah. So I think again, if you say that, it's around the world, we have some amazing, women like Karen that I regularly have on this podcast that, she
Yeah.
wears her shoes to a law office. We have others
Yeah.
like Style is a Weapon that, styles it up, styles it down. It's for the street. It's for, it could be, wear it to Fashion Week. And then, there's other people like Ramona that works at Makeway that finds ways to bring sneakers and urban culture together. So I think there's so many different avenues now that we look at on how sneakers can be worn, but they're just, again, sneakers are no longer just for guys. If people have that conception, that is a misconception. And I think there's so many ways that women are growing and finding ways to wear sneakers in their own unique way. And I think it's really becoming a personal sense of style. And I think that now we have more women. I think they just, like, you look at the possibilities of how sneakers can be worn. I think it's like truly exploded, particularly in the last couple of years. I don't know if it was COVID and everyone having to stay home and then, well, how am I going to wear this when everything is better? I think the creativity and the wheels have just spun with people that we're in a better place, and hopefully things can continue to improve. So again, as we talk about Women's History Month, what is something you would say that you would love to see differently in the women's sneaker community?
I don't know if it'd be just in the women's sneaker community, but just in
Okay,
general sneaker
sure, fire
community.
away.
Yeah, I personally, I liked, like we were talking earlier before we started, just how the drop happened with the big bubble yesterday, how it was like the same shoe. They just offered it in two separate sizings. And then as women, you were able to access your shoe size, not having to like downgrade almost to a children's size, because most of the children's sizes, they're not going to be for children. Like if you're 110 pounds, that shoe's gonna be comfortable for you. For anything
Yeah,
more than that, like it doesn't,
totally
the
agree.
mechanics behind it, like it doesn't work. Like if I compare my 7Y Jordan 3 to my women's Jordan 3 release, like it is night and day in comfort. But it looks the same and the quality's not there. So like why am I now having to either go to just a men's shoe or a child shoe? Just make that space for me somewhere in between. And
Hmm.
then we're not gonna have that. Like just a universal sizing all around for everyone. So that's what I think it should be more of. And then right now you're seeing so many more like amazing colorways come out for women, which I think is amazing. And I know then you hear like some men then are upset that, oh, does it go higher than the 13 women? And then they're left out as well. So I feel like overall, if we move more towards just universal sizing, I think that you're able to go ahead and please
Yeah,
almost
that may be the avenue. And again, like I definitely hear it from the parents. Is I work in retail, and it's like, oh,
yeah,
I'm not paying $270 to have universal sizing. Give me the grade school one that's 170 or 190 or whatever it ends up being. So it's you win some and you lose some, but I think when we think about the opportunity to grow and to really put quality sneakers on women's feet, I think, yeah, I think they have. I think you're starting to see it. Like Nike is definitely the front runner when it comes to that, is
definitely.
really trying to find ways to have universal sizing for some of the big releases. Now they didn't have it for the Jordan 3, although yes, it was available in grade school sizes, but I think that was an opportunity to take an
Mhm.
iconic shoe, and that's probably been the shoe that's had the most buzz, because the law of supply and demand, there was not enough pairs for those that
Yeah.
wanted it. And no, that it wasn't atomic and people weren't sleeping out overnight. Not everywhere, anyways. There were some that
Mhm.
were, but we found ways to get that shoe in a lot of people's hands. And although we love the resellers, and resellers help make the sneaker world go round, a lot of people that wanted it for their personal collection or to wear found a way to get that shoe. So,
Yeah.
did
And
you end
that
up
one
buying that
really,
one?
I did. And that's what I'm saying. That was one I was like, I do not want a grade school. I need to get
Yeah,
my
you need a women's one, a women's
yeah.
proper size.
Yeah, or an adult's proper size at
Yeah,
least, because
whatever ends up being, right? So okay, so as we're we've hit the mark and it's spring, and although today did not feel like spring, yesterday felt like spring. So I know it's like the weather is wild in Toronto, and we can go from 4 degrees to 14 degrees in one day and then right back to
yeah.
four. So what are some of the spring shoes you might have in your closet that you'd love to try and get out and about when the weather's a little bit better?
The spring one. Well, definitely this one. It was a birthday present for me.
Oh boy.
So the Aleli May, the 14s I got. So these ones I feel like just spring Easter to me with the colors and the marbling on the
Oh
gold.
yes.
And I have a thing for gold. We've already talked about it. Like the accent of gold, the way it hits is just
Yeah.
perfection. So yeah, this is one I'm excited to pull out for the summer. I'm also excited to pull out the unions. That one I'd be really excited to
Which
pull
color
out.
union is that?
This is the desert moss one.
Okay.
So this one I actually ended up. This has a story. Here,
Oh,
me and my
please tell
stories.
us the story. We love stories. We'll take stories all day.
So at SneakerCon, I'm not sure if you saw the video or not of the blindfolded eBay guess the shoe that
I've
they
seen
did.
it. I've seen it. I've seen
Okay.
them do it many times at SneakerCon.
Yes. So that was the one that I completely flaked out on, and I was so nervous. I was like, so they got me to sit down, and they're like, we're going to blindfold you. You're going to put a shoe in your hand. You're going to have 15 seconds to try to figure out what's in your hand. So they gave me the off-white fours. They're in my hand, and I'm like trying to figure out what it is. And I know it's an off-white. And the guy next to me, he's like 10, 9, 8. And he's like saying it next to me. And I'm like freaking out. And I'm like, the Jordan 3. And then I was known as the girl online as a clown who called the Jordan 4 Jordan 3.
Oh boy.
And so I lost out on that. And then they're like, okay, we're gonna give you another chance. So then they give me another shoe. Ends up being a 12. Out of all of them, like not a 12, a 13. For some reason, I was able to figure out that it was a Jordan 13, but I couldn't figure out the 4. And after that, they're like, you won the shoes that you guessed. So then I'm like, you're telling me if I knew that Jordan 4, if I had guessed it, I would have been able to get it. They're like, yeah, you would have had them. I'm like, it
Hmm.
killed me knowing that that happened. So then I ended up getting the 13s. I ended up selling them to somebody while we were there. And then I got my consolation 4 prize, which is the desert ones, and like the colors on these. This one
Yeah.
I haven't worn and broken out yet either. And this again screams spring to me.
Oh
So
yeah.
I'm
Nice pair
excited
of
to.
shorts or a skirt, or
Yeah.
you have so because of the amount of colors that's in that one, you have
You can do
lots of
anything with
options.
it. And I actually bought a pair of Nike pants that are like this color and a very like it's just a lightweight material. So I'm like, oh, this
Yeah.
is gonna be really nice with that. So
Yeah.
excited for
So
that one.
yeah, so that's definitely what that's a summer flex if I've ever saw one. But I
Yeah.
have to also comment about the one that is like over your shoulder there. And so I noticed as of late in some of your posts, New Balance has now come to the forefront in terms of some of the shoes you've been buying. So tell us how you've, and obviously it's kind of the trendy brand right now for some, and whether you're a 550s person or you're old school person, you like 574s like me, and 990s is kind of the one that across the board that
2002s.
people like, or the 9060, which is that big chunky looking one. That's a cool one on it all on its own. But tell us about your love for New Balance now.
So when we last spoke a year and a half ago, I was just getting into New Balance. That's when I picked up my 990s at the time, the
Mm-hmm.
purple ones that I had. So
Yes.
yeah. So I just picked those up and I was like, oh my God, what is this? Like the New Balance. And then I had the Kith collab as well here. I got some of the Teddy Santis ones. So the comfort on a New Balance cannot be compared. That is my personal opinion. The Call it a dad shoe, call it a grandpa shoe, whatever you want. My grandpa used to wear New Balances actually back in the day.
Yeah.
It's just comfortable. And I just feel like there's so many different variations now with the V2 and the V3 and like the 2002 models. Like there's so much that you can do within the craftsmanship on them, especially with the made in the UK ones. You feel it as soon as you pick it up and you touch that material. The craftsmanship and the material on it is something that I'm really drawn towards. And
Yeah.
so this
They're not
one,
skimming on it at all. They're
no, not
making
at all.
top quality product. And yes, people go
Yeah.
like, oh, this is not a Jordan. And why am I paying $270 for
Oh,
a
gosh,
990
yeah.
P6? But quality
It's a
wise,
craftsmanship. And then you look at it like made in UK or made in the US, and like they're not like the materials on them and everything. It's really good, and they stand up really well as well.
yeah,
So that's something. And then this one, a friend of mine found somebody selling a pair. It was their dead stock pair for like $200, and so I was able
it's a
to
good
get the
deal.
wrap. Yeah, not bad. And it was only worn like once or twice, so it was like barely worn. So that's
So
another one I
do
really.
you have a favorite pair of New Balance?
I do. I do have my favorite pair here. It's my Kith one. It's right at the
Oh,
bottom. The rose. Let me see if I can pull it out here.
hopefully
And
no shoe avalanche. Oh, hold on. Oh, you got it. You got it.
I got I got it here. There we go. All right, let me just pull this up here a bit. Okay. So this one here, the Kith, I really, really like this rose pair. And again, we talked about earlier about like having like color palettes and anything mauve is definitely something that I really enjoy. And even like the black fig that they had.
Hmm.
So yeah. So I really like these pairs and the fig as well. And I clean those a little bit, but
Yeah.
yeah, their color blocking and their fabrics, and you can never go wrong with suede. I love the feeling of suede and the way it
Yeah.
looks and when you brush it nicely.
Yeah.
So I definitely like a lot of
You
those.
got to walk with that suede brush though sometimes. I know I used to have a pair of Jordan 18s and I literally had it in my bag or in my pocket like all the
Oh,
time. And I
really?
was like, literally, like, it was like if I had like waves, I'd be like
Yeah.
combing my hair and I'd be combing my shoe at the same time, just different brush.
I think I should carry a brush in my bag now, like my new Nike bag that I got for my shoes that I posted in a reel.
Yeah.
So now I'm able to take my shoes in that, and I'm like, "Ooh, I have a Crep Protect spray in there. So anytime it's like raining, I'm like always spraying it down. I'm like, I need to keep an extra brush in there. Thanks
Yeah.
for the
Might
advice.
as well,
I had it.
might as well just put one in there. Put one in there.
Yeah.
So hey, Romessa, again, it's been amazing to have you on the show. And again, everyone that's listening, you can find it on all streaming platforms and also on YouTube. But, as we are also talking about, spring and summer, there's still a lot of releases. We're only 3 months in. There's a lot of things coming. So what are the releases that kind of have your attention that you kind of have bookmarked already?
Already, not for spring. I am like already waiting for November to come.
Oh,
I'm waiting
wow.
for those Royal Imagined. I am waiting for those to come out. Um, the reimagined Royals.
Yeah.
I want those definitely. Another one I wanted to get. I'm gonna pull it up here. I think I had it. I think they're doing the Jordan Low in a neutral and the UNC Chicago's as well.
Yeah.
The lows, and they're coming in women's colorways. So definitely want to get those. Even a Jordan 2. I don't the only 2 I have is the Alma Manier one, but lately the colorways are coming in the 2s that they're doing, even the 2 lows. I'm liking those. So
Yeah,
I think I
the
need.
Jordan 2 is call it, some people call it the ugly stepchild of all Jordans, because we have the Jordan 1 that was iconic, and then some other designers made the 2. It didn't fly nearly as well. They made some amazing materials, but it just didn't stick. And then Jordan got hurt, and then lo and behold, then we go to the 3, and that's where Tinker Hatfield enters the equation, and he makes the 3, the 4, the 5, and those are 3 of the most important shoes in the history of Jordan. So here we are now, and everyone kind of forgets about the 2. Now we did get the 2, the OG one that came out at holiday. There were the OG heads love the shoe, and then now
Yeah.
they had the year one, and then now there's been several. There was a green one earlier this year. There's definitely been some lows that I honestly, I would tell you, the women's UNC to Chicago is the most underrated shoe probably currently, that is widely accessible to everyone else. And then yes, as you mentioned, there are some really good colors that they're making, that are, whether there's that yellowish one that's out, there's
The
another one
rotary
coming out in women's. And I think the women's colors are as good, if not better, than the men's colors that they're dropping. So you don't
Yeah.
have any
Some,
2s, you definitely gotta get on board. It's team 2s. We call it Tuesday for a reason.
yes. As Sean Collard always has been putting his
Yes.
Tuesday up
Yeah.
there.
Sean is the biggest Jordan 2 fan on the planet.
Yeah.
So what other shoes do you think are on the radar? Like me personally,
Um,
if I were to tell anyone that you need one shoe, I would tell everyone that you need the DMP 11 because it's not the Concord. It is like the Concord, and it has gold, Romessa. It has
I know
gold.
what I was gonna say. I'm like, I need that DMP 11. I do know this. Why? Because that's how my sneaker story started with the DMP 6. So I need to
Yeah,
get that to my collection.
you make the collection because it did come in a package, and the story for that I had that going to Detroit, and so many other people have
Yes, I remember.
similar stories. Like I've actually talked to a couple of people that I think we were at the same mall or we had the same experience in a different mall in Detroit. And you run through the mall and Finish Line and Foot Locker and Foot Action and Champs all had the shoe. And it was like, can you get in line to a store and get it? And my story
Yeah.
was a little odder because I ended up going to two stores and I got one pair each. And it's like, oh, I'm gold. I got two pairs. At that time in 2006, I was buying two of everything. So I thought I had won. Like I just like, and then I went to, I think it was or no, it was Finish Line because Foot Action was the first store that I started at. And the DM is on the phone with the store manager and they did not open early like everyone else. And I can hear the DM yelling, hey, did you guys sell out? It's like, oh, we haven't even opened yet. And I said, what do you mean? And so it's like my turn in line. Like he's ringing them in and he's talking. And it's like, so I hear this. Literally hear the DM through the phone. And it's like, can I buy more than one? And it's like, there's one other person in line. It's like, give him his size and say, tell me how many more I can buy. Because I have people at home. I came all the way from Toronto. I
Mm.
left with 11 pairs. Yeah.
Oh,
And that's on top of three
and you
other
picked up
people that I
30?
was with that had two pairs each. So we crossed the border with literally 20 gold boxes.
Oh
And
my god.
so you can't hide it, right? So like
Yeah.
we're like smuggling gold, but not smuggling. We're telling them this is like, yes, what would you like to declare? And it's like, we would like to declare $4,000 in sneakers right now. And he goes, what? So it's
Oh,
like, okay, pull over here, pull over, fill out the forms, pay the duty. Everyone, I bought them all for friends. Didn't take a cut at all. And it's like a couple people gave me some extra bucks, so it helped pay for one of my pairs. And the guy, the duty at the border is just like, so you guys spent like $4,000 before like 10 o'clock this morning and you're going home? And it's like, show me the shoe. And it's like, it's actually two. Okay, show me both. And I was
oh
like,
yeah.
oh, that is nice. And you drove 4 hours from Toronto to come and get this? And it's like, yes, sir. Yes, sir, we did.
He's
So
like, I get it now. You're
yeah,
good. You're good.
I totally understand why you made the trip. And it's like, and this is not, it's like, it's not available in Canada. And then when
Yeah.
I went to work and I put them on and I wore the 6 a lot, and it was like a special occasion that I wore the 11. So that's is why I tell people that the 11 is so special. Like you don't even know, like people are going to wear this to their graduation. People are going to
Yeah.
wear this. Like either it's like minus 100 outside and there's no chance of water getting on it, or it's 30 degrees and there's no water in the air and you can't get them wet, and you're just going to wear that, and it will like it's so like that white, because it's a mesh white, it literally glows outside when the sun hits it.
Oh my god,
So
I can't wait.
it's a special one. Like you're not really going to get the full effect until summer of 24. But if anyone's got to buy a shoe this year, I've had the experience and I love it, and I've had the experience since 2006. DMP 11. Please buy the shoe. That is the shoe for me, for any sneakerhead that loves Jordans. You need to buy the DMP 11.
Yeah,
That's the go to, and it's got gold in it, Romessa. So you
I
definitely
know.
will love that
It's
one
gonna
as
speak
well.
to my heart. It's gonna speak to my heart.
So,
Mm.
again, thank you so much for being on. Again, how do people find you on social media?
Yeah, you can follow me at FIVE number 6, and then the word sneaker chick. Yeah, I'm on Instagram, trying to post as much as I can. So
Yeah.
yeah, come over
Have
and
you
follow
have you
me.
gone the TikTok route at all? No?
You know what? I started TikTok and then it just, I don't know if it's my vibe.
Yeah.
I try to post on there, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
So I
it's different. Like if you're not
yeah,
posting stuff to go viral or it's not funny, and
no,
I think you kind of have to have a certain flair. I haven't I post stuff. Some of the stuff is the same stuff I post on Instagram, but I
yeah,
think that the reels are different. So I think there's different ways to have fun with stuff that's on TikTok, but there
yeah,
is definitely a different vibe with TikTok. I know I'm saying it's a younger. There's some of the funniest people on TikTok
yeah,
are like in their 60s or their 70s. So you have to find your lane. I kind of like look, but I don't really post that much.
that's
Instagram
me.
is my thing, and for a lot of
Yeah,
people, it's their thing, will remain their thing. So
yeah. My main thing is just basically Instagram. I
yeah,
don't think I've posted on TikTok in the past year, so
okay,
Instagram's where it find me.
all right, very good. So Romessa, again, thank you so much appreciated. It's always great to talk to you. We will not
I
wait another year and a half to have you back on the
I know.
podcast, but
We have to do with the kids next time.
yes. Oh, so
Get them
that is so for those that don't, we had a sidebar. So we all know young Winnie, aka Mini Me, as I call her. I was teasing her before she went to bed. She's been on the podcast. Romessa's son has already asked to be on the podcast to talk about his shoes. So I think we're gonna have to double up and have the
yeah,
kids come on in the summertime, maybe when they're out of school, and we can
yeah,
chop it up then. So
love it.
yeah,
It'll
it'll
be
be
fun.
great. So wish you all the best in the rest of the school year. Thank you so much. You're doing an amazing job just being an ambassador for women's sneakers and women's sneaker culture. And, you're incredibly engaging, and I appreciate your time to be on the podcast today. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Okay. All right. We'll talk soon. That's the end of this episode, Sneaks, Rhymes, and Life. So you will catch us on all streaming platforms and also on YouTube. So thanks again, everyone. Talk to you all very soon. Peace.